Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Lionel, class of 2009, back with another episode of PV versus everybody. And listen, I'm excited I'm excited for the night because listen, we got some creators in the building. All right. And if you know, like I know, all right, when those creative juices get to flowing, I mean, listen, when you put that in the pot, it starts to create something great. And we got some greatness that's coming out very, very soon. And I've been telling y'all all season. I say, listen, fall 2024 about to be a movie. And since it's about to be a movie, we was like, you know what? We might as well just make a movie. All right. We might as well just make a movie. All right. It's about to be a movie. Might as well make a movie. And listen, we're gonna be talking to some executive producers. All right. Hey, many people ain't got that beside their name nowhere. All right. Executive producers tonight. But before we get into it, you already know what we got to do. Listen, first and foremost, make sure you're following us over on Instagram and on Twitter. All right. Elon Musk been doing a lot of hating recently. He ain't making enough money with X, right? He trying to squeeze us for all the money because he thought he was going to be able to create revenue another way. So he's trying to squeeze us for all the money, saying we can't go live on X and without a premium account. But listen, they're gonna have to find another way to make some money because this is not about to happen. All right. So y'all just gonna have to mosey on over to YouTube. That's just the reality of the situation. Okay. But make sure you follow us over on X, Twitter, whatever, and on Instagram, man. Trying to do some big things there. Like and subscribe to the channel. All right. Make sure you like this video. Help YouTube out to push this out to others in PV Nation that need to find us and understand that we got a home right here. Like I say, we're not the side dish, we're not the side conversation. We're the main thing here. All right. So you can find us here. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, our goal was 500 subscribers by the fall. 500 by the fall season. That's what we said, And I started this channel July 26th of last year. First video drop. And you know what? We don't reach that 500 subs. So, man, first of all, give yourself a round of applause, all right, for showing support, for coming and showing up, all right, because listen, we doing big things this year in PV Nation, all right, and so we've reached that 500 sub mark, by the fall season. That was the goal. We've reached our goal, and listen, I ain't the only one that got goals, all right. I ain't the only one that got goals. I've heard that swag championships and celebration bowls is goals too. So if we can hit this goal, we can hit other goals too. So that's what we're doing big things one step at a time, man. But listen, first and foremost, before we get into it, before we call up, the executive producers, of the night, first and foremost, I want to remind y'all that, hey, we got a goal, we got a goal that we're trying to knock out. All right. I don't know if you know, but 2016, the first year Panther Stadium was open, the game for homecoming, 15,050 people in the stands, in the seats. That is the record, right? That's the record attendance for PV Nation, for Panther Stadium. And we haven't hit that mark since 2016. So I said, you know what? We need to go and set the record. So this year, the goal is 15,051. So we need you in the stands. We need you at the Labor Day Classic if we're going to hit our goal. So listen, if you're PV Nation, make sure you're sharing this out. Make sure you're letting your buddies in Dallas, the people in San Antonio, the people in Houston know, hey, we got to get out to the game this year because we trying to set the record, 15,051. So, hey, listen, we got a short commercial break. And after that, man, we're going to be bringing up our special guest of the evening. Yo, what's going on? Right on time. You know what I'm saying? She
almost come when you want them.
She almost made it. You know what I'm saying? So y'all don't be knowing what be going on behind the scenes. But that's what we're gonna be
talking about. We know.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be talking about what happens behind the scenes, right? You know what I'm saying? And so we got some people who know, all right, all the work, all the tragedy, all right, All that y'all don't see. Y'all just be seeing that perfection. Y'all don't be knowing what's going on. Y'all don't even know what's going on around this camera right now, but it's okay, right? It's about the content that we put out, right? You know what I'm saying? And getting people to enjoy. So first and foremost, man, how are you, young man, young lady, how are y'all doing this evening?
Blessed and highly favored. Can't complain.
Man, I second that, man. We making it work, but we in a great position, man. Beyond blessed right now.
Hey, man. Hey, y'all got some South Carolina State folks in the building checking y'all out. They say South Carolina State versus everybody. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? We got Big PV Nation in the building. Big Dog, Mr. Carey saying 15,051. We got to hit that number. You know what I'm saying? We getting it, man. So listen, I'm excited, man, to have you guys on because, listen, I feel like my creativity really was stirred at PV, right? You know what I'm saying? That's when I ran into Triple P, you know what I'm saying? Prairie View Productive Poets, you know what I'm saying? Got involved, right? And doing poetry, you know what I mean? And things of that nature. I got my camera, you know, from my overpayment check, you know what I'm saying? And started shooting content, right? You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't been no camera without that overpayment check, you know what I mean? So I'm so excited to see all of the creative juices that get created, you know what I'm saying, at PV Nation. And so, but before we get into that, man, I just want to know, you know, can you guys just let us know, first of all, where are you guys from and how did you even land at Prairie View A&M University, right? You know what I'm saying? Why you guys ain't go to another HBCU? Why y'all wasn't at a PWI? How y'all get to PV? Let us know that story.
You trying to dig deep into the roots.
Oh, okay. Yes, for sure. That's what we about. That's what we're about here.
Of course. Well, of course, my name is Shaylan Young, and I am a Spring 22 graduate of Prairie View A&M University. I studied mass communications there with radio and television, and so now I'm a photographer and videographer and the director and producer of No Script. So I didn't actually begin at PV. I did begin at a different university in Nacogdoches. I started at SFA my freshman and sophomore year. And then the second semester of sophomore year, something just told me I kind of needed a break a little bit. But since freshman year, I've always figured I belonged at a HBCU, didn't know much about it. But eventually, whenever I got to that mark, I said, you know what, let's try it out. And I took a chance on PV, and I really have to say PV took a chance on me because ever since I've been at that school, it's changed my life. Hence the reason why I'm an alum now, but I'm still coming back as if I never graduated.
That's crazy. That's, you know, where you from originally?
I'm from Houston, so close by.
So you from right Houston, Texas?
Right up the street.
Got you. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. From Houston, went to Stephen F. I passed by SFA all the time going home. I'm from Louisiana originally, so you know what I'm saying, I know them back roads, man. You know what I'm saying. But happy you made your way to PV. What was it that made you feel like, man, you knew you were supposed to be at the HBCU though? What was it specifically that made you feel that way?
Well, I'm a first generation college student, so I didn't know much about colleges and universities, let alone the difference between a PWI and an HBCU. Yeah. So I knew of Prairie View, but I was also very young. And so with me being a first generation student, I didn't always have someone above me to let me know, like, or taking the university such as PV, even though it was right up the street. I knew it was close, but I didn't know the difference of the two. And I believe whenever I got to SFA, I was like, something just don't feel right. It didn't feel like home. Houston, I'm very home oriented. And in the beginning it did, but as time went on, something, I can't necessarily explain what it was, but I just remember having a conversation with a family member saying, I feel like I belong at HBCU. I didn't know nothing about HBCUs and PWIs, but I said, I feel like I belong. I know about PV, I know about TSU, but it didn't until me actually coming to PV myself to now gain the knowledge of the two and how much of a difference they make and how much of an impact they make as well. And so that's why I always have to give credit to PV, and that's why I always try to come back and support and help as much. I'm telling you, it's like I never graduated because I'm still there, but that's what it is. It makes you have that home and that community environment.
That's big. That's big. That homely feel. Well, Justin, man, you know what I'm saying? What was it for you? Where you from originally? Obviously, how did you land at PV at the Hill? Because I hear you kind of from a ways away.
Yeah. So to start off, my name is Justin Lamar Collins. So kind of already gave it away, but I am definitely a Midwestern in the South. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, Inglewood to be exact. What drove me to Prairie View originally was I was an athlete back in high school. I played football as well. And within that, I was a pretty productive athlete, all conference linebacker. Within that, it led me to just start, getting recruited and things like that. But I never really thought about college until I got to high school. I just knew I was good at football. Upon me getting to high school, I found out that my head coach, my assistant coach, all of them were HBCU alums. They had all graduated, played ball at Langston.
Okay.
So my first introduction to college was actually HBCUs. Due to a family situation, that led me having to finish my last year and a half of high school in Houston. So I finished playing football in Cypress. Actually, I played for Cypress Creek for a while. Still getting recruited, still heavily in the mix as far as just, get going on trips, looking at colleges and things like that. Prairie View was the first choice that I landed on. It was a home away from home. I loved the vibe around that time. It was good energy, and it just felt like somewhere that I could really find myself calling home for the next 4+ years. But due to unfortunate injury, that led to unfortunately my scholarship getting taken away. So that also led me to not attend Prairie View starting out. I ended up going back home, and I was at another school. I was at Eastern Illinois University. Played a year there, still going through the trials and tribulations of the injury. The injury never got better. So I took a leap out on faith, and I took some time off from school just to, do some rebuilding and do some remodeling in my life to see what exactly it is that I wanted to do. And that led me back into music, actually. So how you were talking about, you were a part of Triple P, me coming into Prairie View, that's who I connected with as well. So, my break took me to go back into music, go back into entrepreneurship, mentoring. So with me getting back into music, I spent so many years traveling, doing shows, doing music, et cetera, et cetera. But my end goal was to always go back to college. Some years passed, and I was like, man, I feel incomplete. Like I accomplished so much in music, I accomplished so much in entrepreneurship, but I'm like, I still feel incomplete. And me and Shaylan had actually met when I moved to Houston. We went to high school together. Okay. So on me meeting her, she was actually the one that told me, like, man, if you gonna go back to school, man, you gotta re-enroll into Prairie View. Like you gotta, this is where you always talked about going. This is where you always used to talk. Like it was after a while I wasn't even paying attention to other colleges. I was just so PV, just take that trip down to me. So she was the one that like, man, take that leap on faith and just reapply. And she was on me. Like this has always been like my little sister. So she was always in my ear. Like, did you reapply? Do the application. So I ended up doing it, and it was the best decision I made thus far. I say, how they always say, it's a timing thing. I feel like the time that I was at school, trying to do school the first time, it just wasn't the time for me. And I looked at it more so as a lesson instead of how people look at things like as losses or taking L's. Like I look at my L's as lessons. So I feel like me being at Prairie View now is so many different opportunities that I've been fortunate to have at my own disposal and be able to take advantage of that I probably wouldn't have had the first go round of me coming here.
Nah, that's big. I think you make so. I mean, it's just funny listening to both of you guys' stories of how you landed at Prairie View, right? And just realize that life sometimes takes us in so many different directions, and we have to be very, very particular, to look and pay attention to how God is leading us. You know what I'm saying? Because we, like you just made that point, right? We're there at specific points in time, right? You know what I mean? And sometimes we try to rush things or go on our own right motives to get into certain places. It just may not be the right timing, right? But I'm so glad that you guys were able to, to land where you guys felt comfortable and felt that family, right? You know what I'm saying? Because even the opportunities that may have been presented to you guys, if you think about, man, those 4 years being those during that time when you started Eastern Illinois, maybe those opportunities not even there for you, right? Of what you got to experience,
Right.
you know what I mean? Because you were there earlier. So, you know, for somebody out there that may be going through that, you know what I mean? Just, you know, you are where you need to be right now. Just keep pushing, you know what I mean? And everything's gonna work out. But you know, just listen to that. Now, you, Justin, are you also first generation college student too?
Yeah, big first generation college student. I had a few brothers that also, you know, they went to school for a little while on sports scholarships and things like that. Unfortunately, things didn't work out for them. So I'm the first one. I'm the first one on my mother's side to like take it this far, like to the point where I'm actually, you know, this close to even graduating. So, yeah.
That's big, and I forgot the stats, right? But we realized that, man, PV is still, you know, servicing so many first generation college students, right?
Yeah.
Of Black and brown people, and so our mission is so huge. And when President Grant talks about excellence lives here, you gotta realize, right? We're helping to establish excellence in places that have yet to realize what that means from an educational academic standpoint, right? And so I'm super excited, not just for you guys, but it just shows that our mission is still being accomplished, right? Even now, 2022, 2024, right? We're still accomplishing that mission, man, of inspiring new generations of people to go to the next level, right? You know what I mean? So I'm super excited about that. And so, you know, just continuing you guys' story now, for both of you, I know that both of you have had opportunities to experience some great opportunities, you know what I'm saying? And so, Justin, I'll start with you, right? You know, talk a little bit about some of those opportunities that you've been able to experience. I know AT&T came calling, right? You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? Talk about a couple of those experiences that you had, right? That showed you like, hey, man, that wait time and then coming back was spot on time for me.
Right. So the biggest thing that I'm glad you emphasized on was just like the patience and understanding the act of perseverance as well.
Yeah.
In the time that I took out from school, like I said, I was still doing music, but I was real heavy into like community outreach and, you know, being a service into my community as well. Through an organization that I work with in Chicago called Haven Studios, I was able to build a relationship with AT&T, just doing nonprofit work, helping put on different showcases throughout the city, different mental health talks, music workshops, et cetera, et cetera. So within us doing that, we had already had a solidified relationship. Upon me enrolling back into Prairie View, I ended up doing a Dream in Black campaign with them back in Chicago for Juneteenth. And this was going into my semester, my first semester at Prairie View starting in the fall. I actually talked to the people that was running the program at the time, and I was telling them I was going back to school. They like, oh man, congratulations. What school are you going to? They probably thought I was probably just going to stay in the city, but I'm like, no, I'm going back to Texas. I'm going to Prairie View. It was like, Prairie View, isn't that a HBCU? I said, yeah, it's right outside of Houston. It was like, okay, look, we have a scholarship program coming soon called the Dream in Black Rising Future Makers. This is something that I feel like you should utilize once you actually, you know, get on the yard and you start making a name for yourself, start planting your seeds and, you know, doing your thing. Apply for the scholarship. So I didn't think nothing of it, like, to be honest. Like, I'm a very optimistic person, but at the same time, like, I'm just, you know, I just didn't think too far ahead with it. So I got the Prairie View and I didn't hesitate. I started getting into clubs. I started making a name for myself. I ended up, you know, opening up for the homecoming concert, like all type of things, just really planting the seeds. The application opened and I just put all of that into the application video just to say I did it. Like, I didn't think too nothing of it, like I keep saying. And then upon them going through the submissions, they said mine was one of the top ones, the engagements that I got from social media, because I had already knew a lot of people at Prairie View prior to me coming here. So it didn't really take too long for me to really get adjusted here or, like, you know, just have to make friends or anything like that. So I actually ended up getting a scholarship, and I was one of 3 students at Prairie View to receive this scholarship. And it was a hectic process. I think they said out of like 5,000 students, I was one of the top 25. And through that opportunity, man, they've not only helped me grow academically, but they helped me so much within my career.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like I said, like, with me being in the entertainment industry, I've had the opportunity to present awards at award shows, the Urban One Honors Awards, able to walk red carpets at the BET Awards, and still being able to tap into sports as well, doing things for March Madness of last year. I'm gonna drop a jewel right now. So you finna get some exclusive content right now.
Come on, that's what we about.
Are you ready? So AT&T will be sponsoring Prairie View A&M athletics for this up and coming year.
Whoa, hold up. That is very exclusive now.
Yeah.
Hey, that's super exclusive now. You know what I'm saying? That's big. Hey, listen, that's big time. Shout out to AD Golf dropping the corporate sponsorship packages, by the way. You know what I'm saying? So AT, okay. Hey, listen, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Are they gonna be like a major sponsor, or is it gonna be on a smaller level?
Major sponsorship? So I'm not sure if too many people paid attention to some people that I don't want to name right now, but they did a lot of things with PVAMU last year. So if you pay attention to like the promotions and certain things that were going on with their media, their basketball team, football team, anything sports related, AT&T had a name in it. They had their name attached to it and promoting it on all their platforms and being real innovative within the growth of PVAMU. So prior to me getting a scholarship back in 2022, this was something I had been working on for so long, and I never said anything about it to anybody, just because I didn't want anybody putting a negative effect on it. I didn't want
for sure.
Praying on our downfall or anything, but I've been working the loops with this since going on 2 years now, and I just received news last week. So that's how I know it's exclusive. We just got this news last week from one of my liaisons through AT&T. He finalized it like, hey, AT&T wants to sponsor Prairie View for this next athletic year. So you're gonna be seeing a lot of AT&T sponsorships with the football team, with the basketball team, tennis, golf.
That's dope, man.
We're gonna make it happen.
That's the hey. First of all, I don't know if y'all picked it up, but first of all, before we talk about AT&T, my man Justin said he got liaisons. All right, you know what I'm saying. Some of y'all need to get some liaisons. You know what I'm saying. So you know what I mean. You got to work on get your liaison game up. You know what I mean. But listen, that's super dope, man. Super exclusive. Hey, I appreciate you for dropping it. You know what I'm saying on PV versus everybody. You know what I'm saying.
I saved it for this platform. I didn't go to social media first with it.
I appreciate you.
Look, Shaylan didn't even know.
Hey, listen, I appreciate you. Hey, y'all, y'all had a conversation offline. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, you know what I mean? But but no, that's super dope, man. And I'm super excited and happy to see that, and it just shows, right? I think sometimes we don't take our brand as serious as other people when they look and say, man, no, there's an opportunity here at PV. I think PV needs to take an opportunity to look and say, no, we have a brand that is big, that is huge, that makes sense. When I first started this channel, and this is a side, right? Because my cousin, he went to North Carolina A&T, he came to Prairie View for grad school, right? So when I first started the channel, he was like, oh man, it's kind of niche or whatever. And I was just doing it for fun anyway, right? You know what I'm saying? But I told him, like, really, honestly, if I'm going to be niche, I mean, I might as well be niche with a school that got over 80,000 like alum, right? It's like really PV is not small. Like we probably are outside of Southern. We literally, and Southern has a system, right? But talking about just main campus, we have the most alum of all the HBCUs, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's not technically a small market, right? You know what I mean? It's actually a big market. We just got to take the bull by its horn and realize what we have in our hand. And I feel like you, Shaylan, right? What y'all have recognized is like, no, like this is a big opportunity, right? And I'm super excited for that and for y'all perseverance, right? And Shaylan, that's what I want to get to you on now because, one thing I've noticed, right? Because, I be snooping and stuff, I be snooping on, Instagram, stuff like that. So one thing I noticed, right, is you talked about how you were chasing this dream of connecting with Disney. You know what I'm saying? You talked about 3 years of going after this dream. We talking about perseverance now, right? What was it like first and foremost, right, of you experiencing that somewhat defeat, right? We'll call it, right? You know what I'm saying? And still continuing, right, to reach out to say, man, no, I want to get this opportunity to go to this place that, hey, we talking about storytelling and you talking about a company that knows how to tell stories is Disney, right? You know what I'm saying? So talk about the experience first and foremost of the back and forth of trying, right, and seemingly failing, right, learning, then going back again, and then talk a little bit about the experience that you had being a part of this college program, with Disney as well.
You mentioned that as I'm looking at a wall full of Disney painted cups and mugs, because yeah, it was a journey. It was a journey. I'd known since I was a child that I was a Disney kid, and I didn't necessarily know how I was going to make it into that industry, but the child in me just knew that I was going to be a part of that company one day. And so when I got to Prairie View, that was the time where I was able to take a lot of advantage of the opportunities that I had present in front of me. And I said, okay, learn about the Disney College program, which is something that I hadn't learned at my prior university. And when I was accustomed to that, I said, okay, let me go ahead and give it a chance then. Went ahead and applied for a few of their programs throughout the semester, was a part of their Disney College premiere screening mission. I had a few mentorships, part of their alumni networks. And I said, but I got to get to that college program. Like that's the big thing in Disney. And so I was always told that whenever you make it into the college program, that was going to be your foot in the door. I felt like I threw my whole body in a couple of times, and time after time, it was just that denial, and I didn't understand what it was, what I was doing wrong, what errors, what, and it took year after year for me to just have to come to the conclusion that that wasn't my time. Whenever I got to my last semester of university, I studied abroad, and I decided that post-graduation, I don't want to stay here. I was just living on an island. I need to be out of Texas. I don't want to come back home to Houston. I don't know what I'm going to do just yet, but I have to get out of the States. So I got a golf internship in Orlando, Florida. And there I had met another young lady who had done the Disney College program multiple times. And so when I met her, I was like, hey, I've been trying to get in this program for like 3 years. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Whatever it is not working. Can you help me? And she was like, oh yeah, sure. No problem. Her name was Megan. I got to give her a big shout out. But
shout out to Megan.
Shout out to Megan. Megan was amazing. And she sat with me while I prompted my resume. She helped me polish all of my career sites together. And she was like, I will sit with you while you take your test. And so
wow, that's big.
She just helped me and she worked with me and through it. And sure enough, immediately after I pressed the submit button for the exam, which is what I constantly failed. If you don't pass that exam, you don't make it into the program. Within that session of taking that exam, I pressed submit and it immediately told me I got accepted into the college program. So I was like, wow, okay, now is the time. It wasn't when I was in undergrad, and I don't know why. I just feel like that wasn't my time or season. But post grad was the time where I was able to have that availability and go ahead and proceed with it. So all of timing. And I just felt like I had finally achieved what I had been chasing after, because it was hard. Constant denial is not easy, but I knew, like I said, the child in me, there was a seed that was already there, and I had no other choice or option but to bring it to pass. And so that's what I did. And it has to be probably one of my most achievable moments, honestly.
Wow. That's big. That's dope, man. And just to hear that, again, it's like a running theme. You know what I'm saying? All throughout, right? It's the perseverance, the right place, right time. I know. Justin, you talked about you connected with Triple P, right? You know what I'm saying? So we run a poetry night like every 2 weeks, right? Me and my wife. And one thing we always talk about every night, right, is like, man, even though we don't be saying what the theme is, there's always a theme that you catch every night when people come. It's like you just string the poems together and realize, okay, this is kind of what God is talking about this evening, right? And so I feel like this perseverance, right, and also right place, right time, you guys can just see that painted all throughout the story of kind of what these two young individuals are talking about, right, man? And I hope it's encouraging somebody out there to know, man, you guys are in a certain place of position. It may just not be the right time, but man, listen, that time is going to come. And so you just need to make sure you're ready when that door opens, that you right, you know what I'm saying? Because you said you had to get your whole body in, you know what I'm saying? You finally got your whole body in that thing. Man, what would you able to do? And what was the experience like at Disney? And also, if you had to say one or two major takeaways that you took away from your experience, can you tell us what those takeaways were?
Two major takeaways. Be ready, because you never know when, like you said, that door is going to open for you. And so if I hadn't already thrown my whole body in, I probably wouldn't have been as prepared as I was. I don't feel like at that time, and I got to give credit to God, because that time when I was applying in undergrad, I didn't have the awareness of what all that program was going to bring to me. And now that I've experienced it, I know that I would not have been able to handle that while I was still in university. I was producer of this in this organization, that organization. I was still trying to make my networks, shake hands, kiss babies, all of the things. And so the college program, once I finally got in the door of it and I was able to see for myself, I don't think I would have been able to handle that while I was in undergrad. Finally making it to that point, throwing my whole body into it, knowing that, okay, this is what I have the time for now, I was already prepared. So you definitely have to be prepared for whenever those moments come for you. You can't say that you want to get something and then you don't put in the necessary work in order to go ahead and grasp it. And so I think I did that. I would also take away that those challenges are still going to be thrown. It doesn't matter that whenever you finally grasp what you want, there's still going to be a couple of obstacles that you have to out there. And what matters the most is how you come out on the other end of it when it's all said and done. I have to reflect and look back on my experience at Disney and what all did I do there? Did I take full advantage of it the way that I was supposed to? Did I make myself proud now that I finally had got into it? Did I do everything that I possibly could do to use resources? Because let's be for real, Disney is not a small company. It's not a small company, and it was really hard. And I seen how hard it was every time that I got denied. And so for me to finally get to the point where I was approved, that allowed me to see, okay, you know what, I have something. And being there, like you said, where the storytelling was placed, it was just a fairy tale almost within itself. It was definitely a lot of hard work, but I have made so many great connections there. The network system is amazing. I'm still a part of their alumni network association, so I can still contact some of those old mentors that I have, and just how much Disney is pouring back into education systems and also brown students like myself. I just had no choice but to, I felt like I didn't have a choice but to go ahead and do the best that I can with those opportunities that was presented to me. So I did.
What's up, man? I'm happy you had a chance to accomplish that, right? You know what I'm saying? To see that when you get to something that you want, right, it doesn't mean it's gonna come easy once you grasp it, right? You know what I'm saying? There's work even when you grasp that thing that you've been hoping for, right? You know what I mean? And so I think all this is just awesome lessons, and I'm encouraged that. I know we have students that watch this, alum that watch, like, hey, man, there's opportunities and resources all around us a lot of times. I think what these two young individuals are showing us that we need to take advantage of those resources that's around us, right? Not wait and sit back for things to come to us, but move forth and say, okay, let me take hold of this in my job, right? And create something from these resources that's there that will get those eyes pointed at me because of what I'm bringing to the company, right? Or to be able to say, man, I can go out and create a completely different product that can take care of solve a problem that's relevant to my line of business, right, et cetera. So I think that's what really you guys are showing us, man, and I'm super excited. Yeah, man, job well done, Q has said, in the comment section. So now let's get down to business, okay? Let's get down to business, because I know I remember I talked to my guy Color Day at the end of last season. Like I literally talked to him. I told him, I say, listen, man, I don't know what kind of capacity y'all got, but listen, if y'all could do a documentary, that would be dope, okay? Because little did I know, okay, that somebody was putting in the work, okay? So first and foremost, man, I want to know, where did the idea come from to do a docu-series? Because I know some people out there is gonna say, man, PV doing a docu-series? Yeah, Big PV doing a docu-series. But listen, I want to know, where did the thought process come from to say, man, let's do a docu-series on some PV student athletes? How did y'all formulate that? How did y'all come up with that idea? You know what I'm saying? And talk about the process of getting that started and getting that on the move, right?
So from my perspective, how it was presented to me was, like I said, in the role of me being back at Prairie View with everything that I do, I also ended up getting back heavily in tune with the football, not as a player, but I was brought in as kind of like a coach. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was brought in assistant coach Rock with the linebackers, turned into the defensive analyzer, which turned into helping out Coach Burton do video, which is pretty much doing the jack of all trades for real. We get to the championship game against FAMU. Obviously, you know, we didn't get the results that we wanted. And me and Shay had been having like all type of side conversations just about like, man, we want a opportunity for the players to be able to tell their story as HBCU athletes, you know, and it's something that a lot of people may feel like it's so taboo just because of the lack of respect that HBCUs get in the academic world, and beyond that, even just like, you know, sports, like everything that we hear just from the criticism, the ignorance that like, oh, like you go to HBCU, they don't value the education aspect, they don't value the sports. It all comes from a very, you know, it can come out very hateful. And Shaylan just bought the idea to me, like, hey, we gotta give these boys opportunities to tell their stories outside of sports. You know, so after the FAMU game, I'm still on the field, and she was also on the field working. She was doing, she was taking pictures, doing videography, like doing what she do. So it's like almost as after we came off the field from shaking hands, and you know, the energy is high. She ended up introducing me to Joseph Clay from 1876 Athletic Foundation.
Okay.
And Joseph Clay was the passion that he had just within this conversation. Like, it was mind-boggling. It was refreshing to hear someone that felt the same way that we did, but also be in position to actually like capitalize off of this. Like, man, Shay was telling us this idea that she wanted to do for a documentary. Let's do it. Like, you know, like let's make it happen. What's stopping us? Like, let's make this happen. And I can say that the process of getting this documentary done started at the SWAC championship.
Wow, that's what's up.
In Tallahassee, Florida. That's where the process started. From that point on, we was rocking and rolling right then and there. It was not a verbal contract. It was just an energy contract. Like, we all knew we wanted to do, and everything was just tunnel vision from there. So from my perspective, that's where it came from.
That's crazy just to think about it, because again, right, it's like I keep talking about this running theme. That's that SWAC championship. Do we win the game? It's a game we lost, right? You're talking about this perseverance, right? It's at this place that it's like this almost should be a down point, but from this point, it's like, listen, what's rising from the ashes is greatness, right? You know what I'm saying? In that very moment. So Shaylan, sorry, what was it that kept boiling up in you and said, man, we need to let them tell their stories? Why did that keep coming back to your mind? Because I don't know if you guys have heard me at all on this channel, but I keep saying that you can't build if you really want to build a program and a brand, the people need to know the players. Like, they got to know. It makes a difference, right? When I know, like, bro, I don't just talk about Chris Herring like it's like, bro, I feel like I got a relationship with him. I feel like I know him, right? You know what I'm saying? That's different, because it's like you having a nephew. Like, are you going to go to your nephew games? Like, yeah, I'm probably going to go to the game because, like, that's my nephew, right? That's the connection we got to make between our current student athletes at Prairie View and our community, the alumni, and the rest of the world, et cetera, right? But what was it that you started to say, man, we got to tell their stories?
Because exactly what you just said, Prairie View has history of being a family-oriented university. Like, that's why you want to show up to your nephew's football game. That's why you want to show up to the cousins cookout. That's why you want to support them. But it requires you to know them more on a personal level.
Yes.
Also make that happen. And so I will be candid. I am not the most involved in sports, but I am great at a creative. And I met Mr. Joe Clay during my internship in undergrad for their podcast, 1876 Sports and Culture Podcast. And so throughout that podcast, that allowed me to interact and become more involved in the athletic, building a department, reaching out to the players because I had to invite them on to do the show and do my job as an intern. But speaking to them was also the time where I was able to learn more about them. Like, hey, I don't know what your position is or what you do out there on the field, but whatever it is, it's a great thing that you're doing. But talking to them, like, yeah, it can be an exchange of, okay, you want to have them involved and you want to listen to them talk as an athlete. But in between those conversations of setting up, that's when I got to learn them more as a person. So it led me to continue on with just my sports and radio and television degree, and allowing me to interview them on my own and speaking to them more as people, learning who they are, who they were as persons, and not just them as the athlete. So prior to that FAMU game, which was really hard because I definitely was out on the field. That equipment did not like that weather, as we all know. But in the midst of that, 2 days before, maybe I had the opportunity to interview Ahmad Antoine prior to that game. And so speaking to him and just learning about him and who he was as a person, like, that's that connection that that I want to learn about you from, not just you as the football player, because that's cool. But if I know you as a person, that makes me pay attention to you more. When I'm paying attention to you more, that makes me want to show up more and tune in more. Eventually, you have an audience of people that think that same way, and it brings back that community that PV once had, because now y'all know who's out there on the field. Now we're showing up because we know who they are as people and not just players. So at that game, yes, I was just like, hey, we got it between Mr. Joe and I. We were like, something got to give, This wasn't the results that we wanted. We came all the way out here, which that was challenging for a lot of people within itself. And that doesn't mean that it has to stop here. We can keep going. So like you said, and that night of where it seemed like everything was supposed to be going downhill, it only went up. It only went up.
That's what it does, man. That's what it does. It only goes up, right? You know what I'm saying? It only can stay down if we leave it there, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's so interesting. And I guess the feeling that I have and why I'm so excited about the team too, like, this was my story in high school, right? Like, we lost my junior year. We came back and won a state championship my senior year, right? So for me, I guess maybe that's why I feel so good. Not just the team itself, right? But I feel like I've seen this story before, right? You know what I'm saying? Of being there, losing it, and then coming back and getting the job done, right? But I'm so happy to hear other people say the same thing, that I'm like, it should be so simple, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we got the Disneys of the world, right? If one thing you see, ESPN, even though one of their biggest shows is SportsCenter, ESPN isn't just about SportsCenter. It's not about the highlights, right? It's the 30 for 30. That's what you love, right? You love the 30 for 30 that you can come and see. I remember watching 30 for 30. I watched the hockey 30 for 30. I didn't even know hockey player, but it's like the story was crazy though, right? You know, it's the story. It's the narrative. And for me, it's like PV has never grabbed hold of his story and his narrative and said, no, I'm going to tell you my story, right? I'm not going to let you believe what's coming through the grapevine over here or what the bird told you over there. No, come sit down, gather around the campfire. Grandma gonna tell you the story of the family, right? You know what I'm saying? PV has never done that, right? And so I'm happy to see that you both have said, you know what? You, in connection with Joe Clay, right? Joe Cleasy, as they call him, right? You know what I'm saying? Say, you know what? Yeah, let's tell our story, man. So when you talk about no script on the hill, right? Why the name? Why no script on the hill? What was the decision behind that name? I see both of you laughing, so this should be interesting.
I don't know if we can get that to you, Mr. Lance.
Okay. Hey, listen. If it's something that's gonna be releasing a little too much to where people ain't gonna tune in, then you already know we ain't. We can't give them that.
I have no doubts that they're gonna tune in, but we don't want to give y'all all the goods just yet. We gotta to keep some things in the bag for you.
Okay, listen, I'm all about it. Listen, we just sprinkle a little bit there for him. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so no problem. So listen, hey, no script on the hill. All right, y'all need to keep paying attention, right? Because that's gonna come out soon and very soon. Now, another question I got, right? I don't know again if y'all can release this, right? But now y'all chose 5 individuals, right? It's a 5-part docu-series. Y'all chose 5 individuals. What made y'all say, man, we're gonna choose these specific players to follow? Because what I notice is I really like the mixture, right? You got players that are from different places as far as the country, you got players that play different positions, and players that are in different points of their life and experience, right? In their college experience, in their playing career, right? Players who've gone FBS and now have come back to FCS program at Prairie View. Got guy who was in high school, who was just stepping on college campus. You know what I'm saying? You got guys who've been here, right? So, like, what was it? What was it? What went into the thought process of when y'all said, you know what, these are the individuals that we're gonna choose to say we want to make them a part of this docu-series?
So, so for me, I'll be the first to say, and I'm pretty sure Shaylan can attest to this 1,000%. It was extremely tough to narrow it down to 5 players. It was tough for me personally because, like I said, like my role that I played on the team as a coach, I built the rapport with all of these boys. I built the type of mental, like beyond coaching, like with me still being in school, I got class with most of these guys. So like they're talking to me about stuff that they're not talking to Coach Rock about, talking to Coach Bub about, talking to Coach Burton, Coach Jackson. They're not having these conversations with them because we're more closer in proximity of age and things like that. So it was real tough for like me personally about who to choose. Like I'm like, okay, like let me switch this around. Let me put this person here. Like you think we could probably fit one more person in this? And it's like I tried to be fair all across the board, but we also found, like, even though these are the key 5 players that the documentary will be about, everybody's getting their moment to shine. Like
that's great.
So many different players making their own like personal like cameos within the episodes and things like that. But what solidified these 5 players in particular is that they had the personality, they had the niche, they had the appeal, but they also had that it factor story. So when you look at every player that we chose, they have a significant story about them that just screams like, you know what, this is something that I feel like we can emphasize on to the degree of giving you your own episode. Like, you know, personally, just looking at Chris Herron, like it was just like knowing, like being a follower of him, being someone that supported him since his days at Langdon Creek. You will know that like he is the team heart. I feel like he's the one that like he supplies the jokes, but he also supplies the work ethic in a lot of different areas. He's the player that when Coach Burton talks about putting value on yourself, he supplies so much value to the team because you can throw him anywhere in the equation and he's gonna get it done. Like, you know, he's a receiver, but then when you look at him, you can throw him in at quarterback and he's going to play quarterback. We say, Chris, get out there and we need a retirement. Chris, he's going to, anytime you call his name, his helmet's already on. You just got to tell him what to do. And outside of that, his story, just like him going from Kansas State up at Prairie View, like he's the definition of what we call perseverance because his story is just so innovative. And then for him to just recently graduate, that shows that like what happens when you persevere and weather the storm and just make it to that finish line. And then you got people that even when we look at the transfer students that came in, like Fred Stokes, he's different in so many different avenues. And I can his episode is gonna shock a lot of people. Like Fred has a character about himself that I feel like a lot of people, when you look at him, he comes off like a gentle giant. But man, when he started running it, you gonna see that it's more to him, like in a lot of great ways as well. And then too, him being from Chicago, he's a Chicago native as well. We also wanted to implement showing how diverse PV was with recruiting. You typically hear about HBCUs recruiting from the regular, you know, Texas, you know, Dallas, Houston, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida. you don't hear too many people, striving from the Midwest at these HBCUs.
That's
you feel
good.
like Red have the potential to be that, to really be that it factor. Ryan is such a he's such a swell kid. He's such a sponge. You know what I'm saying? He's what it's to the point where he asks so many questions and you don't have to tell him more than once. He picks up on everything, but he's still showing that transition from high school student graduating, going into HBCU. So we wanted to showcase that process of that journey. What is that like? And then Cam Peters, just that quarterback aspect, transferring in and just having to come in and fight for that spot. Like the competition aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We were talking about the quarterback room for a while,
Right.
and just how in depth it is, how competitive it's going to get, how competitive it recently just got. Just with a few pickups that we just got. So just showcasing him, his personality, but also showcasing him outside of athletics. All of this was put together to showcase them being more than just college athletes.
Yes.
People have this stigma that college athletes have it easy. You don't have to go to class, you automatically pass. The school just loves you. You can pull all type of strings. Man, it's from a former college athlete itself. This is probably this is a job.
Yeah.
People don't understand the people don't understand the era of having to prioritize studying for a test versus studying your playbook, trying to maintain your grades, trying to maintain your mental health, and, sometimes not feeling like you have that direct support. So all of this is implemented into these episodes, and that's pretty much the meat and potatoes of what these documentaries are going to consist of. It's going to show the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful.
Listen, that's dope. That's what makes a good story, man. I was gonna ask too, who are some of the guys that are part of your team? Some of the guys and ladies, this is a part of your team, because I know you guys haven't done it by yourself, right? You know what I'm saying? So can you just mention, some of those people that, may have been from the videography side, the photography side, just from, storyboarding, etc. Just talk about who's a part of your team in general.
Definitely would not have been able to accomplish any of this without our team. We are small but mighty, and they have been doing phenomenal work this semester. The crew is only made up of present and past PV students. I being the only one that has graduated. So all of our crew has been made up of students. So shout out to them, because they have found a way to place this on top of all of the other responsibilities that they're doing and try to find the best balance that they could, with already being students, with being more on the end of the university time here, with being juniors and seniors more so, and entering into that phase with internships and also being, a student worker, etc. So it is a job, and for them to be able to place this on top of everything else, got to give them a major shout out. Kalade, like you said, like you mentioned earlier, we all have a great connection with Kalade. He has been one of our amazing cameramen. Tori Davis, Michael Boudreaux, Jeremiah Joseph, they have all been a phenomenal team. And within just us, we have been pushing it out this semester to really try to make sure that we had the opportunity to highlight the spring season, which is what a lot of people don't get the chance to see. We all see fall season, of course, because that's when football season is present. But this was the time for us to show y'all the work that they're putting in now. And so allowing that to then, whenever we get to football season, you see them out on the field, you'll already be able to make that connection with who they were a few months ago back into the spring season, and learning, okay, so whenever we get the results that we do this season, it'll be easier to follow along because you know what they were doing back at the spring game. Paying attention to them, learning who they were as people, and just learning their stories, and also learning each other within our crew. It has been an amazing experience, a very, very tedious one, but without the crew, definitely would not have been able to achieve any of this. They have been great, and excellent help.
That's what's up, man. And Shaylan, I was gonna ask you too, because from one creative to another, and from one editor to another, right? listen,
It's a
all that
process.
all that shooting stuff is fine and dandy. All right. But listen, once I connect this hard drive to this computer and have to look at all these files and figure out now what because at the end of the day, listen, I can capture a lot of great footage, but the reality is like, listen, the editor is I mean, listen, they are up here as far as you still want to tell this story. If you ain't got a good editor, I don't care what y'all talking about with all this shooting and stuff. So can you just talk a little bit about your process, right, of deciding how to really craft these stories? Because listen, at the end of the day, I know some people out there don't understand. I really understand because listen, I know, okay, I've been there, all right. But some people ain't really gonna understand that. Listen, all that stuff. That's why people be trying to just pay you for like shooting and stuff. Like, listen, they ain't even forfeit the work I gotta do. You tripping? Okay, my work just started right now. All right, so you need to hold on. All right, but tell them, just explain to us like how difficult was it, right, to really put this together, right, from the back end process, right? When you talk about sitting down and editing it together so that it could be a product that once we put our eyes on it, we're not only excited because it's PV, right? But we're excited because, man, we really can follow a story that's going to make sense. You get what I'm saying?
I wouldn't say it was hard, for lack of better words, to edit in the sense of putting the story together because the story was already there. From being with these players and being able to learn who they were as people, being able to be their shadow and follow them in their day-to-day lives throughout their academic week, throughout practice, and then be able to go home with them back to their native areas. We traveled all over Houston and we went back to actually these players' families' houses, their friends' houses, made them who they were. And so, like I said, those are the moments that, we are here and we're recording, but we're also learning a lot about you. And so editing was seamless. It is seamless because we already have the story there because we got to spend so much time with them. While filming, we were able to build that intimate relationship with them because, like I said, we have a camera in our hand, but your family, your mom allowed us into their home. They opened the door for us. They fed us. They allowed us to know more about you, more about them, more about your upbringing, who you were before PV, who you were aside from the athlete. And so that made editing just really seamless in a sense of crafting the story and putting it together because the guys honestly made it easy for us in the sense of allowing us to learn who they were. I say the tedious part might have been scheduling, if anything, because like I said, you're working with a lot of moving pieces, not just, me, but also having a crew of current students and then not just the crew, but having schedules with the players. So that might have been the biggest challenge, but putting their stories together after we have learned so much about them, we just wanted to be able to create something beautiful. We wanted to be able to create something that really showcased who they were and be able to spotlight not only them, but the football program as well too. So even the 5 players that you see, they're not going to only be the ones that are in the documentary. We wanted to be able to give the entire program an opportunity to show like, hey, this stigma that there is on HBCUs, on Black and brown students, on student athletes might not be exactly what you think it is, but it's going to require you to learn who these people are first personally for you to make that connection that they're just like you, they're just like me, they're just like your nephew and child, daughter, depending on how old you are. But it really took us having to be with them these past few months and learn who they were, and then just be able to bring that to the brightest light that we could, and also just allow that to pour back into our university and our community.
That's big, man. And so it sounds like this is something that is going to be able, even though it's highlighting specifically, right, the great and illustrious, you know what I'm saying, Prairie View University. It sounds like it's also going to be something that everybody from HBCUs all around the nation are going to be able to really get behind and support because it's really showcasing Black and brown student athletes from HBCUs what they go through, what they experience. And so that's also exciting to hear too, as well, that, you know, it's something that's not even just exclusive to us, right, and PV Nation, but it's something that you guys are spearheading on behalf through PV Nation on behalf of everyone else. And so that's really big, man. That's really exciting. When you talk about, you know, all this time, right, all this work and time that you guys have put in, you know, is it something, you know, that you guys see as a future, that you see, hey man, there's opportunities for us not just to, you know, put this documentary together? I know you guys have partnered and connect with 1876 Foundation on it. Is there opportunities to that maybe you guys would be able to even monetize, you know, this thing in order to actually get some revenue back in? Because listen, I know it's a lot of time and effort and work as well that you guys have been putting in. Have you guys found sources or ways that maybe you can put it out or connect with, you know, certain platforms that maybe you guys can see something on the back end?
So the goal was never exactly to monetize. That wasn't the first goal. The first goal was, again, the storytelling and spotlighting our program and learning who these guys were. So I can personally say that that wasn't the first goal of it all. It was more so just bringing these guys to the light. And I have to say that that has been rewarding. There is a way for us to, in the future, being that we'll be showcasing the episodes on YouTube. That'll allow for us to be able to really be able to push that out. The more that our audience grows, the more episodes that are released, and just how attentive we are and how big this goes, because it is just a small seed of what we feel the possibilities could come from this. Like, this is so much bigger than just is so much bigger than Justin. It's so much bigger than the 1876. We really wanted to be able to branch this out to beyond PV. But again, like you said, starting with our own community, because that's how you do it. So we are able to later down the line with our YouTube, but in the meantime, we have really just been trying to prioritize the storyline with it, and also pour back into the athletic program. So 1876 has, the foundation has their site where we are able to take donations, and they'll pour that back into the football program as well. So
that's awesome. And that was what I was going to ask. So first and foremost, y'all need to make sure y'all checking it out on YouTube. Make sure y'all following, subscribe to the No Script on the Heel YouTube channel, and make sure y'all send everybody there to watch the video, right? You know what I'm saying? So y'all help run them numbers up. But yeah, that was something in my mind. I was thinking, like, you know, the opportunity that is also there. I mean, almost similar to, you think about something like a Hard Knocks, for example, right? And how, you know, Hard Knocks is, you know, Cleveland Browns this year,
right.
Next year you see Hard Knocks with a different NFL program. And this is something similar that also can be taken to other, you know, HBCUs, or even taken to a conference level and say, hey, conference, like, you can sponsor a Hard Knock style, you know what I'm saying, thing, you know what I mean, through Miss Shaylan and Mr. Justin, right? You know what I mean? And so, you know, it's awesome to see that you guys see that vision too as well. And I'm excited to see, you know what I'm saying, what's coming in the future. Now, I know you guys have an early screening that's coming up soon. You want to tell everybody about that so they can know how they can maybe check it out a little bit earlier than everybody else?
Yeah, so we will be doing the screening for the first episode, July 31st, at the MSC, which is the Student Center at Prairie View. And for those who aren't Prairie View students or have ever been to the campus, it will be Opal Johnson Smith Auditorium, but it will come up as the Memorial Student Center. It will start around 7 p.m. and we'll have like an open forum just for people to ask questions, us talking about the documentary, and we will be giving a exclusive screening to the very first episode.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I'm super excited for, you know, this opportunity. I'm definitely trying to be in the building. Me, my wife, my little baby girl, you know what I'm saying, get her to the screening. So, you know, hopefully, man, I'm excited about this time. I'm excited about what you guys are doing and the work that you're putting in to highlight, you know, not just, like you say, Prairie View and University, but even more importantly, right, the student athletes of the university. And I know we're going to continue to do big things in terms of that. And I'm excited about this year. So before we go, man, lastly, I want to ask, from this documentary, which one of the coaches would you guys say, man, y'all don't know, man, this coach is low key, like he a comedian, like, you know what I'm saying? This coach right here, y'all may see some clips of this one, man. He pretty funny. Which one of the coaches y'all say y'all get that nod to?
So me, that's tough. It's tough. It's gonna be a lot. I will give that disclaimer. It will be a lot of like click bites. Like, man,
they were all characters. I must admit, filming was never less than a joy because of the personalities that came out, for sure.
Y'all got to give me one though. Y'all got to choose one.
For me, and I know it might be expected. It might be kind of cliche for me to say this. I'm gonna go with Coach Bub, man.
It's definitely Coach Bub.
I'm gonna go with Coach Bub.
I think some people gonna be shocked though. I think some people will probably be shocked because they see Coach Bubba in the interviews and they feel like, you know, he's, you know, kind of low key,
it's
right?
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? So right,
and that's and that's where he tricked. And I'm not gonna lie, that's where he tricks everybody. I'm not gonna I've had the privilege of being around Coach Bub for 10 plus years. Like I said, from just the years of me being at Prairie View. Coach Bub has he's a very balanced individual. So when it comes to like how he presents himself in front of the camera, he's very more professional. You know what I'm saying? He might crack a joke here and there, but when we at the facility, like that man joke, like he got jokes. Like Coach Bub is really funny. Like I'm talking like if he was to put like a scheme, and he could do comedy. Like Coach Bub,
he stand up low key.
He's for me to not have known Coach Bub prior to this production, I must admit he's nothing of what I thought he was before. Me being able to personally spend a lot of time with him for the past few months, I'm like, okay, you unk, like you're not anything of what I thought, or maybe you are a little bit of both, but his personality definitely amongst the coaches were all great people to be around, and I must admit he has to be up there.
That's what's up.
On the screen.
And that's something that we don't mention either, right? That also is a part of that whole conversation. We talk about people knowing student athletes, right? Another thing is people knowing the coaches, right? You know what I'm saying? Knowing the coaches, knowing their personality, right? Makes them feel like they're connected, you know what I mean? And so, you know, all of these things is great, man, and connecting PV Nation with, you know, our athletic program, right? Specifically, right, the football program. And the players there, because I mean we expect them to do some big things this year, and it's gonna be better when we got everybody rallied behind them. You know what I mean? And I know I'm probably putting the target on the back because I'm out here creating t-shirts and everything, you know what I'm saying? Y'all over here making movies, you know what I'm saying? So everybody gonna feel like, what PV out here doing? Who they think they is, making movies, print t-shirts? So, you know, we need everybody behind us because listen, they gonna be coming now. You feel me?
We just doing what we doing.
All I'm gonna say is two SWAC West championships within the last 3 years. That's something to brag about. That's why my favorite phrase for this whole scenario, this season, for this documentary is let's talk about the hill.
I like it. Yeah, I've been seeing you drop that all the time, man. I like it.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that hill. Hey, listen, my phrase, why not PV, and writing big checks. All right. Writing big checks. That's what Big PV does. And I don't know if you watch the show, but listen, everybody that comes on, they got to write a big check. All right. You know what I'm saying? So listen, we got the money to cash it. So I need a big check from both of you guys. I know Shaylan, right? You know, you're already a big graduate, right? You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot more in your future that's coming. Justin, you're almost there at the finish line. You connected with the football team too, right? So I need a big check from both of you, you know what I'm saying, for the year. I'm gonna say 2024, 2025, right? Because we're about to start the school year. So 24, 25, what's the big check that you guys write?
My big check is gonna be just pushing through, no script on the hill. creating the most success out of it that we possibly can gather, just having that support system, bandwagoning us throughout this season, and just seeing those seats filled and the support from our community, from others, and allowing this to be the seed of many great things for not just PV, but student athletes, and just learning who they are. That's going to be fun. I see great things coming from those script for sure.
Oh yeah, I do too as well, and I appreciate you for spearheading this and pushing it. So I'm super excited for everything that you guys are doing. Justin, man, what's your big check?
Ooh, man, what I'm gonna write on my big check is, man, persevere. I see this as a year that we solidify improving a lot of people wrong. And the thing about it is, it's not intentional. Like, we're not doing this to like, prove a point to anybody. We're just doing everything the PV way. And a lot of people would just, be shocked, or a lot of people would just be in awe to see the results that come from this football season, to see how these players develop over time, to see how these coaches develop within their active mentorship, and just to see how the school elevates off of our success. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna write that on that one.
Man, big check, man. Persevere. I love it, right? And we got the money to cash it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, have you guys ever been to a sellout at Panther Stadium?
Have not.
No, because I
have not.
Well,
I did see the numbers. I saw them numbers.
You got an opportunity.
Yeah.
You haven't been to one yet.
We need that.
You're gonna be at one soon. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you got less than 40 days to experience, and you're gonna experience something you never experienced before. You feel me?
Hey, I think we can do it. I definitely believe we could do it. I believe
I know we can do it. I know we can do it just because of how big this first game gonna be. Like,
yeah.
I don't think a lot of people talk about it enough. But man, like the first game is always like that's the tone setter, and it's so much riding on it this year. Like, the reason why the number is pinnacle for me this year, because like I finally get to throw up this. I finally get to throw up that 10. Because this will be we'll be on the 10-year streak.
Yes.
Of BTA to
BTA Tour 2024.
Yeah, I'm all for it. And we handing them out all year, but this is gonna be the tone setter. So this number is definitely reachable.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you know what I'm saying? It's doable. Shaylan, man, you think we can get it?
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt. I think there's so much stirring around PV right now. We are doing incredible things, not just within the athletic program, but just campus wide. And there's a lot to be excited about this season. So, like you said, why not PV? Why not show up? Like, why not come home? We always talking about coming home. We always talking about bringing it back to the hill. Yeah. Why not? Like, why not pack out the stadium for this? It's gonna be at home. I mean, hey, let's show them. Let's really give them something to be. They already shaking in their boots, but like let's really like make them tremble. I've been around the players too long. I think I'm starting to take on some of their
swagger,
some of their aggression. Yeah, but we can do it. We can do it 100%. This is how you get it started. And when it starts off with this being the first game of the season, we just got to carry it through, take them back to that championship. I mean, hey, I'm here for the ride, and I got to personally see what they was doing. So let's get it.
Yeah, let's get it. That's dope, man. Hey, listen, this is the last thing I'm gonna ask since I got y'all here, right? Just 10 seconds, man. Talk to PV Nation and tell them why they got to pull up on Labor Day Classic, right? First of all, Shaylan. Hello, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay, I was saying tell PV Nation why they got to pull up August 31st at the Labor Day Classic.
Oh man, gotta pull up. Gotta pull up. We have to come out as a nation, PV Nation, support the Panthers, support our players, support our team, support our guys. Let them know that we have their back, their full support, and really just be able to carry that throughout the season, making sure they know who we are and what we are for them. Please come out. Make sure that y'all join us. That's going to be the first game of the season and the game before our last episode of No Script on the Hill premiere. So we got to make sure that we keep that energy aroused all weekend long.
And for me, August 31st will definitely be a prolific game, not only for the team, but just for the school. Like this will mark the 10-year anniversary of the victories of the other side of 290. And it'll just be a great turnout. It'll be a great way to fellowship, a great way to just uplift PV Nation, man. So just show up, and it'll also be the best way to go into the season finale of No Script on the Hill.
And so again, man, we appreciate both of you guys for jumping on. Everybody out there, make sure you go to No Script on the Hill right now on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so when the first episode drops, right, you guys are ready to follow it. Our first episode drops August 2nd, correct?
August 2nd.
August 2nd, right? Dropping every Friday until the last one drops, which is right before the weekend of Labor Day Classic. So, man, we're going to be building momentum all the way to the year starts, man. So I'm super excited. Fall camp about to start. We're about to get into it, man. So, hey, man, thank you guys for jumping on, for sharing with us, man. And I appreciate all that you're doing. Can't wait to see the success that you guys are going to be creating even into the future, right? In the life and where God is going to lead you guys to, man. So excited.
Definitely. Thank you, Miss Alon. Thank you for not only your support with us, but also what you do, because you are also a part of the movement of making PV bigger than what it is now. So thank you for everything that you do for the program and the department as well.
No problem. No problem. We building one step at a time. So, all right, until next time, man, we'll holler at y'all.